Julian, I have a question for you. If you were to put 1 million people in and around Times Square, packed, and you had to have them unify on one thing to where there's no fighting, bickering, and everyone's peaceful together, what would that be?
Ooh, that's an amazing question. No one's fighting and no one's bickering?
Nope, they're stepping on feet and whatnot, but they're all brothers. They get along.
Different ethnicities, groups, languages,
all over, people
colors,
from all over the world.
Races. What could unify them in that such a way?
If I could unify them under one thing, I would say forget religion, forget creed, forget all that. Something created us, and it was the same thing. We may not all know the answer, but the same thing created all of us, and let's just accept the fact we're only here for a second, and let's enjoy it while we're here. That's what I would unify.
Brother, you nailed that. Submission to one creator, bro. Submission to one creator. I know you wanted to talk about Islam a little bit. Do you know much about the actual faith itself or anything?
Assume I don't.
Assume you don't. Do you know what the word Islam in itself means?
Isn't it peace?
No.
No?
It's one of the meanings. It is one of the meanings. Salama, he's correct. It's one of the meanings.
But the word exactly. Look up. Are you on Google right now? Look up submission to the will of God translated to Arabic. Did you find it? Yeah. Islam. So if you were to directly translate in English submission to the will of God, you would get the word Islam. That's the direct translation. The direct translation. Now, do you know what the word Muslim means?
No.
Look up one who submits their will to God, translated to Arabic. Muslim. So if you were to directly translate one who submits their will to God, you would have the word Muslim. We're not called Mohammedans for a reason. We don't believe that Islam started with the Prophet Muhammad. Did you know that?
You don't?
No.
No.
Where do you think it started?
Adam.
Even before Adam, actually. So we believe there's two free-willed creations on earth, humans and jinn, which would be like spirits or demons. So they also...
Refer back to the last episode with Julian Dorey.
It comes up all the time.
He went deep on that. So you remember how he said how the unseen creation, jinn, they have free will as well, right? The jinn.
The genie.
Bek says.
So they were actually on earth first. And then God created Adam, right? So this is why we say all the prophets and messengers of God were Muslim, because they all submitted their will to God. Every single one of them. Abraham wasn't Christian, wasn't Jewish. He was a Muslim.
The word didn't even exist. Those words didn't even exist.
David, Noah, they were all Muslims. They all preached worship God alone.
Moses didn't walk around saying, I'm a Jew.
Wait, so you're saying like figuratively?
No, literally. We believe in all the messengers, bro. Every single messenger that Christianity and Judaism believes in.
But did they identify that way, or do you guys identify them as that because of what they did?
Can I?
You answer that one.
You got this or no?
No, you take it.
Let the spiritual leader do it.
So what the Muslim says is the concept of worshiping the one creator has always existed. The word we use is the Arabic meaning of that word, but the concept of submitting to the one creator, or as we call it, the God of Abraham, has always existed. God did not choose just any nation. He chose the Israelites to give revelation, but he didn't choose them above humanity. He chose them to deliver the message. So what we're trying to say is Adam was the first human being created, Adam and Eve, right? And they were in a state of submission to the creator, right? So they were Muslims because of how they lived their lives. The concept of submitting to the one God is why, if you look at all the scriptures, they all worshiped God the same way, as I also mentioned on previous episodes with you. It's the same reason why Jesus in Matthew 26, verses 36 through 39, prayed with his head on the ground. So what we say is God sent prophets and messengers throughout time, throughout history. He didn't just choose one nation. He sent prophets and messengers. Sometimes they were sent just to remind people of the message that came before them. Jesus Christ didn't come to change anything. He came down and lived as what you would call a Jew. That word didn't exist. The word Jew was more from modern history. They were the Israelites. The Israelites were Muslim, meaning they submitted to the God of Abraham. They worshiped the one God. We broke this on Danny Jones. We broke this on you. Viral many times, thanks to both of you, that the word Allah is the cognate of all three religions. Ilah or Elohim, Allah in the Arabic, and Allah in the language of Christ. Christ didn't speak English, bro.
He spoke Aramaic.
He didn't speak Italian. He spoke Aramaic.
He might have spoken some Italian.
So one who submits their will, Sonny just showed you one submitting their will to God and the word for God means Muslim, right, in Arabic. If we took the Aramaic, and I want you to do your Shalom Aleik because it's a great bit.
Let's do it.
You do it. It's like Muslim tag teaming here. So when someone is submitting to Allah, which is what Jesus did, or Elohim, which is what Moses did, they are submitting to the same God. It's the same word. So the concept of a Muslim has always existed. One who puts God before everything else.
Yeah, so we're not saying that Christians and Muslims have the same God. What Christians call the Father, like the God that Jesus prayed to in the Bible, that's who we would say is the only true God and the only being worthy of worship. Does that make sense? The word day in singular has been mentioned 365 times in the Quran, which is the amount of days in a year. The word month in singular has been mentioned 12 times. The word, this one's crazy. The word sea is mentioned 32 times, and the word land is mentioned 13. If you do 13, what is that?
Plus 32
Plus
equals 45% of C. 32 divided by 45 times 100 equals 71.111% of land. Equals 13 divided by 45 times 100 equals 28.88%. Modern scientists currently has discovered that those numbers represent the exact proportions of surface area of sea and land.
Bro.
The word life.
I couldn't read and write, bro.
That was
he couldn't read and write, Julian Dorey.
Yeah,
the word man is mentioned. The word man is mentioned 24 times, and the word woman is mentioned 24 times. And I believe, isn't that the amount of chromosomes that we have?
Yep.
24. So this is just a few, by the way. This is just a few
That's
of
just
them.
the mathematical
and that's
stuff.
just the numerical side. Now go to historical. And then you explain to me how he wrote this on his own. Because if he wrote this on his own, he's a genius. He's the smartest guy ever. And we don't even believe the prophet
There was no
wrote this.
microscopes. There was nothing. The human embryo, the 4 phases of the human embryo. I said this on the show before. Chewed substance like literally how the human embryo looks. There was no microscopes, Julian. They didn't have one for 1,000 years later. Like a primitive microscope, not even one that could see the human embryo. How could he have known? It's in the book. It's literally mentioned in the Quran, the 4 phases of the development of the human embryo. How? So to us, you don't think we think like people like you do. You don't think I thought like you do before. I do. Some guy walked on water. You got to be a fucking idiot to believe that. Let's be real. We're going to be real. Let's be real. Let's leave it all on the fucking table. Some woman was a virgin and she had a baby. Some guy went with a stick like this and said, Red Sea part. Like, I don't think that sounds fucking foolish. Of course, my common sense tells me that. But when you actually look into it, Julian, if you actually look into it, how I've come to accept those stories, because that does not make sense in today's world. Some guy walked on water, bro. Brought people back from it's like algebra, bro. I know this book is perfect. I know God exists. X plus Y gives me the Z, bro. I don't accept the Z. To me, the Z is the unknown. I didn't get to see Jesus walk on water. I know this book came from God, bro. I challenge anyone to go against it. I challenge anyone to look up the miracles of this book. And they're going to see, Julian. I'm not I've never been. Do I look like the kind of guy that follows people? Or I do what the fuck I want to do. Let's be real. I've been an alpha my whole life.
An alpha.
I don't listen to. I was excessive talking in class. Most likely to have his own talk show. It all came true. Okay, I had a big mouth my whole life. I couldn't work in the corporate. I hated people, bro. Tell my boss, you're a fucking moron to their face. I never left a job peacefully. I scorched earth everything. I made sure I could never get back on the boat. I told my bosses to go to hell in front of the entire office, and that was a very nice way of saying it. What I'm trying to say is I'm not the kind of person that humbly follow kumbaya, my Lord. I couldn't deny what I found. I couldn't deny what I was seeing. This is not even covering his prophecies. This is just what's in the Holy Quran. This is what's just coming, what we believe directly from God. Mathematical perfection. Even where the word Mecca is mentioned is exactly in the center of the book, which we believe, if you look at latitude and longitude, I believe there's some mathematical miracles with that also, latitude and longitude-wise, of where that box is positioned.
And these are just pure evidences. This is empirical evidence that we're looking at for proving that the Quran is from a divine source. This isn't emotional and being like, just believe what I believe and remove your logic. No, let's look at it together. Okay, the historical miracles. This one is personally my favorite. And the reason I looked this up is because I'm accountable for every single word that comes out of my mouth. If I say one thing wrong and someone catches me on it, not only am I responsible on Judgment Day, but that can then turn someone's heart away from listening to me. Oh, he was wrong about this. Let me just wipe away everything else he said, even though it might have been a sincere mistake. So everything I say, I'm very, very careful that it is factual at the end of the day, okay? So if you were to pull up Quran 30, 2-4, It says, the Romans have been defeated in the nearest land, but after their defeat, they will be victorious within 3 to 9 years. So a modern day comparison of this would be like, right now a man comes and he's saying, I'm from God, right? And Ukraine just got toppled by Russia. It's even called Russia, right? And this guy comes and says, in 3 to 9 years, not only will Ukraine become Ukraine again, but they're going to take over all of Russia. You'd say that's insane. That's insane. And if you were a false messenger, why would you make such bold claims? That's like if you're sports betting and you're making a parlay and the odds are 1 in the trillions, in the quadrillions, with all the different predictions that this book says, contradicting science at the time, contradicting what historians would predict is going to happen. You're contradicting the modern logic. It's not as much logic, it's more so the common consensus at whatever that time is with something scientific or historical. And you're right every time, every single time. Every single time. There's not one false prediction in the Quran or from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This is why I'm so passionate about it. Because you can't disprove it. I haven't seen any real evidence disproving that this book is from God. All they can do is take stuff out of context.